This is where the mental game comes into play. Richard Reshka is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. Richard Reshka is looking relatively composed going through turn 8.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
Richard Reshka is driving through camp.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
You can feel the tension building. Joni Geldenhuys is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Joni Geldenhuys can deliver.
Joni Geldenhuys appears focused and prepared driving through camp.
I have always loved this section of the track.
The adrenaline is pumping. Anne-Rose Stadler is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. Anne-Rose Stadler is looking relatively composed going through turn 3.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
Warren Dodd is on their out lap.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
Warren Dodd is driving through turn 3.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
It looks like Jacobus Besson is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right. Jacobus Besson appears focused and prepared driving through turn 1.
I have always loved this section of the track.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Taihan Van Ruyen is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. Taihan Van Ruyen is looking relatively composed going through carousel.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
Taihan Van Ruyen is driving through Canada Corner. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Sean Motter appears focused and prepared driving through Thunder Valley. This is what it's all about. Danny Van Ruyen is putting everything they've got into this qualifying session. Richard Reshka will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings.
Absolutely. Richard Reshka is showing the world what they're made of.
Richard Reshka is looking relatively composed going through turn 4. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Taihan Van Ruyen is nailing both.
It's always impressive to see a driver in the zone like this, Peter. Let's see if they can maintain this pace.
Taihan Van Ruyen has improved by minus 0.21 up through turn 5.
There's no guarantee that Taihan Van Ruyen can maintain this delta through the rest of the lap.
Taihan Van Ruyen is now up minus 0.44 in turn 8.
All we can do now is wish Taihan Van Ruyen luck as they continue their way to start, finish.
You can feel the tension building. JP Brand is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time. JP Brand is driving through Corvette Bridge turn 6. It's all about strategy in these early moments. That's the outlap done for Bradley Taylor. They'll now look to focus on their first flying lap. Bradley Taylor appears focused and prepared driving through turn 1. The pressure is on in this qualifying session, but Enro Stadler is rising to the occasion.
It's certainly exciting to watch. But let's not forget, the goal is to secure a good starting position for the race.
Enro Stadler is driving through turn 4 and is up -0.12.
Enro Stadler needs all the focus and resolve they can muster to maintain this pace.
Enro Stadler has improved by -0.34 up from Corvette Bridge turn 6.
There's no guarantee that Enro Stadler can maintain this delta through the rest of the lap.
Enro Stadler is looking relatively composed going through carousel.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
Danny Van Ruyen is up -0.13.
It's amazing what a little bit of adrenaline and a lot of horsepower can do. Danny Van Ruyen is just showing us all what they're made of.
Danny Van Ruyen is driving through bend.
I have always loved this section of the track.
It's clear that Enro Stadler is pushing gear car to the very edge of traction on this qualifying lap.
Let's see if they can put a good marker down.
Enro Stadler appears focused and prepared driving through Road America Straight.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Enro Stadler has completed their first flying lap in 2:09.276. Enro Stadler is looking relatively composed going through turn 1. Danny Van Ruyen is driving through turn 3.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Jacobus Bisson appears focused and prepared driving through kettle bottoms. The adrenaline is pumping. Johnny Stander is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
This is the moment they've been preparing for. Let's see if they can execute.
Johnny Stander is looking relatively composed going through carousel.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
It looks like Chantel de Jager is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right.
It's a delicate balance between taking it easy and pushing hard. Let's see how Chantel de Jager handles it.
Chantel de Jager is driving through turn 4.
I have always loved this section of the track.
Enro Stadler looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve?
Well, Peter, they'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
Enro Stadler appears is not as quick as they were driving through turn 5. Annie, any thoughts on what they need to do?
Good question, Peter. It's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
Van Ruyen looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve?
Every driver needs something.
Taihan Van Ruyen has just completed that lap in 2:09.874. Their best lap so far is 2:09.465, putting them in P3. Taihan Van Ruyen is now up -0.1 in turn 3. Jamie Nichols will be happy having put themselves into 4th in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
This is what it's all about. JP Brand is putting everything they've got into this qualifying session. Taihan Van Ruyen is driving through Corvette Bridge turn 6 and is up -0.1.
All we can do now is wish Taihan Van Ruyen luck as they continue their way to start, finish.
Taihan Van Ruyen is looking relatively composed going through bend.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Taihan Van Ruyen is driving through Thunder Valley.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
Taihan Van Ruyen will be happy having put themselves into 1st in this qualifying session. Taihan Van Ruyen appears focused and prepared driving through turn 1. JP Brand will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings.
They certainly are. This is shaping up to be a great performance by JP Brand.
JP Brand is looking relatively composed going through Kettle Bottoms.
I have always loved this section of the track.
JP Brand is driving through turn 14.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
As JP Brand completes their outlap, they will be hoping they have given themselves enough space on track to fully attack for their first flying lap. A solid qualifying performance by Richard Reschke, positioning them in 3rd at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
You hit the nail on the head, Peter. Richard Reschke's current position of 3rd is a testament to their skill and determination. Now, they must stay sharp to make the most of this opportunity.
Impressive work from Enro Stadler, who has claimed 4th on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position. Enro Stadler appears focused and prepared driving through turn 4. Danny Van Ruyen has positioned themselves well in 5th during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess their competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start. Danny Van Ruyen has improved by -0.13 through King. time is looking relatively composed going through Bill Mitchell Bend.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
A solid performance from JP Brand as they currently hold position 2. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid. JP Brand has just completed a lap in 2:09.386. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. Currently in third, JP Brand has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position.
You're spot on, Peter.
Richard Reshka will be happy having put themselves into fourth in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
Anrose Stadler has put in a great effort and currently holds fifth. With the session winding down, time is running out for them to unleash their full potential and improve their starting position. We see Danny Van Ruyen sitting in the second spot. The third position belongs to JP Brand.
JP Brand will be taking no prisoners today.
Richard Reshka is placed in fourth. Lining up in fifth is Anrose Stadler. Jamie Nichols has qualified sixth. The seventh starting position belongs to Blake Hurley, who will be looking to make up ground early on. Sean Motter will be looking to gain ground quickly as they start from 8th on the grid.
Lining up in the mid-pack.
In the middle of the pack, we have Joni Geldenhuys starting from the 9th position on the grid.
Who knows, they could be the dark horse that steals the show.
The race has begun, full throttle ahead. This first lap is crucial, as drivers need to establish their position early on.
Maintaining composure is essential in this high-stakes environment. The ability to react and adapt will be the key to success.
I think passing is going to be difficult today here at Road America, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get on.
With this motley bunch of drivers, there is bound to be drama. I just hope we don't miss it.
Safety car. Speed 100 km per hour.
Taihan Van Ruyen will be studying the nearby drivers and looking for anything that could give them an advantage. The drivers are jockeying for position. Taihan Van Ruyen will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate their position.
There are a few drivers with a point to prove, and a few with some grudges to bear. Let's hope they can keep it clean.
As the tires come up to 10th, their available grip is changing, and the drivers that manage this transition best are likely to make progress through the field.
Like gladiators, they enter Peter, but instead of lions and swords, our champions fight in an arena of tarmac, and with fire-breathing machines of cutting-edge materials, designed to explore the very limits of physics itself in what can sometimes be very much a fight to the death.
Excellent work from Andrew Stadler, who has managed to increase their lead over Joni Geldenhuys. They seem to have found their rhythm and they are grooving to it. Oh, this is getting intense. Joni Geldenhuys is just a few car lengths behind Andrew Stadler.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curves and pushing the car to its limits.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Bradley Taylor, who is currently in P5. But Joni Geldenhuys is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Bradley Taylor. Even though JP Brand is a fair way behind Sean Motter, they can't afford to let their guard down. Sean Motter is still vulnerable to mistakes.
Absolutely. And on the other side of the equation, JP Brand can't afford to let up. They have to drive with intensity and focus, and wait for any opportunity to arise.
Danny Van Ruyen is giving it their all as they chase down Taihan Van Ruyen in P1.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Danny Van Ruyen should use slipstreaming to their advantage and close the gap to Taihan Van Ruyen.
It's a steady race for Danny Van Ruyen so far. They haven't made any mistakes, and they are maintaining their focus.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Danny Van Ruyen just needs to bide their time and wait for the right opportunity.
Let's talk about tire degradation, Annie. How does it affect the car's handling and what do drivers need to do to adapt to the changing conditions?
Tire degradation can significantly impact handling, Peter. As the tires wear, the grip reduces, and drivers need to adjust their braking points, cornering speeds, and throttle application to maintain control of the car.
A strong showing from Danny Van Ruyen, who is currently first.
That's right, they can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
It may seem like Andrew Stadler is far behind, but Sean mistake could give Anro Stadler an opening to catch up.
That's very true, and Anro Stadler knows that as well. They have to drive their own race and wait for Sean Motter to make a mistake, if they want to have any chance of overtaking.
The race is heating up as Anro Stadler in third closes in on Sean Motter. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they're going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
This is where experience comes into play. Sean Motter has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Anro Stadler is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
Bradley Taylor is holding fourth, but Joni Geldenhuys is right on their tail.
Surely they've got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
He's pulling away. Bradley Taylor is increasing the gap to Joni Geldenhuys.
Yes, it's clear that Bradley Taylor is in control out there. They're making it very difficult for Joni Geldenhuys to catch up.
That won't be ideal for Taihan Van Ruyen. Looks like we might have a great battle starting here between Blake Hurley and 12th and Warren Dodd. It's been tense with a gap of only 0.4 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Warren Dodd to make up that gap, especially with Blake Hurley defending so well.
Richard Reshka will be happy having put themselves into fourth in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
The battle for 5 is heating up as JP Brand tries to catch Joni Geldenhuys in P5.
JP Brand is looking to close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass.
The gap between JP Brand and Joni Geldenhuys is getting smaller. An impressive showing from JP Brand, who has gained positions and left Joni Geldenhuys in the dust. Joni Geldenhuys is on a mission, chasing JP Brand, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
I would not be surprised if they get this pass completed soon.
A solid performance from Danny Van Ruyen, who is holding down first. Anro Stadler is placed second at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Sean Motter, who is 0.8 seconds behind. It's looking good for Sean Motter, sitting in third.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Sean Motter has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
A tough moment for Warren Dodd, who has just lost a place, dumping them down to 14th.
Definitely, but Warren Dodd is a skilled driver, and they have what it takes to fight back and regain that position.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
The chase between Richard Reshka and Lyle Ramsey is like a high-speed game of tag only.
Hold on a moment. I don't think that's the fastest way around Road America. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Richard Reshka will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's moments like these that make me—
Hold on a moment. I don't think that's the fastest way around Road America. JP Brand is placed fourth at the moment. seem like things are going to plan for Joni Geldenhuis as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time.
It's not over till the checkered flag drops though, and it's important that they don't lose concentration at this point.
It's true what they say, Annie, you're never completely useless.
Indeed, Peter, you can always be used as a bad example.
This is getting exciting. Lyle Ramsey is looking for any gap that might open up the position. It's all about consistency for Danny Van Rooyen, who is currently first. The delta between Anrose Stadler in second and Danny Van Rooyen remains over a second, but Anrose Stadler is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 10 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
Absolutely. Anrose Stadler in second will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
While Bradley Taylor is not under immediate threat from JP Brand, they still need to stay focused and avoid any errors. Any slip-up could cost them their position. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with JP Brand trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Bradley Taylor. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
That's right. JP Brand in fourth knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Bradley Taylor is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
Things are going according to plan for Joni Geldenhuis, who is currently fifth. A strong showing from Richard Reschke, who is currently sixth.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Jamie Nichols in eighth chases after Lyle Ramsey. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Jamie Nichols needs to find a way to close the gap. It's looking good for Jamie Nichols, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Lyle Ramsey.
Absolutely, Peter, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and Jamie Nichols can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep driving with intensity and focus.
A setback for Jamie Nichols, who has just been passed. Hold on a moment. I don't think that's the fastest way around Road America. Hold on to your hats, folks. Jamie Nichols is right on the heels of Lyle Ramsey, and we're in for a wild ride.
It's a battle for position as Jamie Nichols tries to make a move on Lyle Ramsey. This is what racing is all about.
The tension is building as Bradley Taylor trails behind JP Brand. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. JP Brand is pushing to maintain the lead, while Bradley Taylor is working to close in and challenge for the position. It's a battle of wills out there, with Bradley Taylor trying to outsmart and outmaneuver JP Brand. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. It's looking good for Taihan Van Ruyen, sitting in 9th.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
Blake Hurley is placed 10th at the moment. The gap between Blake Hurley and Sean Lauder is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Blake Hurley to even allow Sean Lauder to get a look in. Hold on a second. Looks like that's a mistake from Lyle Ramsey. This could be costly. It looks like Richard Reshka is pushing hard to catch up to Joni Geldenhuis. That's not a small gap, but Richard Reshka has what it takes to challenge for the position.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Joni Geldenhuis is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Richard Reshka in P6 doing everything they can to catch up.
It looks like we might get a battle between Richard Reshka and Joni Geldenhuis. The pursuit is on. Richard Reshka is closing the gap on Joni Geldenhuis, determined to claim P5. What a move. Richard Reshka has moved up to 5th. Disappointing for Richard Reshka, they now find themselves in 6th.
Yes, but there's still plenty of race left. Richard Reshka needs to stay calm and focused, and make their move when the time is right.
A solid performance from Danny Van Ruyen, who is holding down 1st.
That's right, they can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Anrose Stadler will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's going to be tough for Anrose Stadler, as Danny Van Ruyen seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Anrose Stadler pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
It's all about consistency for JP Brand, who is currently 3rd. The race is heating up as Bradley Taylor in 4th closes in on JP Brand. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they're going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Bradley Taylor in 4th determined to catch up. But we know JP Brand isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Bradley Taylor is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
Danny Van Ruyen is on fire in the last sector. It's all over. Danny Van Ruyen has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of their game right now. Anrose Stadler takes 2nd place with a fantastic race. Well done to JP Brand for securing 3rd place on the podium. Taking 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th is Bradley Taylor, Richard Reshka, Joni Geldenhuis, and Jamie Nichols. Finishing 8th, 9th, and 10th is Taihan Van Ruyen, Sean Lauder, and Lyle Ramsey. Coming in 11th and 12th we have Blake Hurley and Jacobus Basson. Johnny Stander end in 13th. There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at Road America, as we're getting ready to kick things off. And in second place, we have Sean Motter. Holding strong in third place is Taihan van Ruyen.
Another good start for the South African driver.
In the fourth position, we have Jamie Nichols ready to tackle the race ahead.
They are in a good place to mount a good challenge come the first corner.
Joni Geldenhuys will begin the race from the fifth spot on the starting grid.
Joni Geldenhuys will be expecting to bring home solid points.
Sitting in sixth is Richard Reshka.
It's the mediums tires for Richard Reshka.
From the middle of the pack, we have Bradley Taylor in seventh place on the starting grid.
Another mid-pack start for Bradley Taylor.
JP Brand is eighth.
They'll be looking for a clean race.
Anrose Stadler is going to be starting from ninth. Danny Van Ruyen is lining up 10th.
But sometimes the underdog can...
Green flag. Green flag.
This is where the true test of a driver's skill comes into play. It's all about finding the right line and carrying as much speed as possible through the turn.
The drivers will need to be precise and calculated if they want to make it through this section unscathed.
And with so many cars jostling for position, it's a real test of nerve as well. One wrong move and you could be out of the race before it even really gets started.
That's right. The pressure is really on these drivers to perform. Anrose Stadler must have had a rocket under their seat because they shot off the line like a missile.
You know what they say, the early bird gets the worm, but let's hope Anrose Stadler doesn't get too cocky just yet.
Stadler looks like they have got off to a flying first lap, gaining places straight out of the gate.
A blazing start for Anrose Stadler, but as we all know, slow and steady can still win the race. Let's see if they can hold on to their advantage.
As we watch the drivers fight it out in the first lap, I can already feel that this is going to be an epic race. The pressure is on when the field is this tightly packed. Maintaining just enough aggression to hold off their rivals without pushing too hard will help these drivers keep it clean.
The first lap can always be a bit of a melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
There's not much to report on from Jamie Nichols at the moment. They're just keeping their head down and putting in consistent laps.
That's the mark of a good driver. Jamie Nichols is staying focused on their own race and not getting distracted.
It looks like JP Brand is in control. They're ahead of Richard Reshka by over a second, and it doesn't look like they're going to be challenged anytime soon. The gap between Richard Reshka and Danny Van Ruyen is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Richard Reshka to bring Danny Van Ruyen into play. The gap between Danny Van Ruyen and Blake Hurley may be wide, but that doesn't mean Danny Van Ruyen is safe. They need to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance. This one's going to be tough. Blake Hurley is getting their elbows out, and there may not be enough time left for Bradley Taylor to make a move.
Blake Hurley is doing a great job of defending in the lead, and Bradley Taylor is pushing hard to close the gap. It's an exciting race and it's not over yet.
Every move counts now as Anrose Stadler works to reel in Lyle Ramsey and overtake for P2. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Enro Stadler gaining places and Lyle Ramsey losing them. This is going to be a nail-biter. Joni Geldenhuys is defending for their life, but Danny Van Ruyen is right there doing everything they can to force a mistake.
It's not over yet. Danny Van Ruyen is right on Joni Geldenhuys's tail, and if they can find just a little bit of extra speed, they might be able to make a move.
It's a solid performance from Joni Geldenhuys at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them.
Consistency is key in racing. Joni Geldenhuys just needs to keep doing what they're doing and wait for opportunities to present themselves.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Sean Motter trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Enro Stadler. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
Absolutely. Sean Motter in second will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
It may seem like Pyhan Van Ruyen is far behind, but Lyle Ramsey can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Pyhan Van Ruyen an opening to catch up.
That's right, and Pyhan Van Ruyen knows that they have to keep pushing hard and driving their own race. They can't let Lyle Ramsey off the hook.
In racing, anything can, and usually does, happen, especially in such an epic showdown. It looks like we might get a battle between Blake Hurley and Jamie Nichols. Green flag, green flag.
This is where the true test of a driver's skill comes into play. It's all about finding the right line and carrying as much speed as possible through the turn.
The drivers will need to be precise and calculated if they want to make it through this section unscathed.
And with so many cars jostling for position, it's a real test of nerve as well. One wrong move and you could be out of the race before it even really gets started.
That's right. The pressure is really on these drivers to perform. This is a thrilling battle as Blake Hurley edges closer to Danny Van Ruyen in their fight for P5.
It's a game of strategy now as Blake Hurley hunts down Danny Van Ruyen. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
The pressure is on for Danny Van Ruyen as they try to catch up to Pyhan Van Ruyen.
We'll have to wait to see if Danny Van Ruyen can use the draft to their advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder their progress.
It seems like Danny Van Ruyen is struggling. Their last lap time was a bit off the pace of Pyhan Van Ruyen. Green flag, green flag.
This is where the true test of a driver's skill comes into play. It's all about finding the right line and carrying as much speed as possible through the turn.
The drivers will need to be precise and calculated if they want to make it through this section unscathed.
And with so many cars jostling for position, it's a real test of nerve as well. One wrong move and you could be out of the race before it even really gets started.
That's right. The pressure is really on these drivers to perform. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
This battle between Pyhan Van Ruyen and Danny Van Ruyen is so intense, you could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front ring.
Like we have a bit of a traffic jam on the track.
It's like rush hour out there. I mean, I know we're in a race, but can't we all just get along?
You can wish all you want, but I don't think that's how racing works, Annie. These drivers are here to win, and they'll do whatever it takes to get ahead.
I guess you're right, but wouldn't it be great if they all just stopped for high fives and fist bumps?
Things are heating up as Richard Reshka tries to close the gap to Blake Hurley. Look at that. Taihan Van Ruyen is hot on the tail of Danny Van Ruyen.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a...
Hold that thought. Hold the phone. Looks like that's a mistake from Jamie Nichols. This could be costly. Looks like Taihan Van Ruyen is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control. The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
While it doesn't look like Sean Motter is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Andrew Stadler. Even though Taihan Van Ruyen is a fair way behind Danny Van Ruyen, they can't afford to let their guard down. Danny Van Ruyen is still vulnerable to mistakes. Looks like we might have a great battle starting here between Taihan Van Ruyen and fourth and Blake Hurley. It's been tense with a gap of only 0.3 seconds. This is where the race gets really interesting. Blake Hurley is closing in on Taihan Van Ruyen. Blake Hurley has just managed to set their fastest lap of the race so far with a lap time of 2 minutes.
Things are hotting up now, Peter, and it'll be interesting to see if they can improve further on that time.
Superb driving from Blake Hurley, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Richard Reshka is chasing Taihan Van Ruyen in P5. Richard Reshka is not currently on pace with Taihan Van Ruyen. Maybe they'll get a chance to see where they can improve. The adrenaline is pumping as JP Brand gets within striking distance of Richard Reshka in their race for sixth.
One wrong move and we could see a spectacular new synchronized pirouette performance by JP Brand and Richard Reshka, though I doubt the judges would give him a perfect score.
Richard Reshka appears to be trying to find a way around Taihan Van Ruyen. They could make a move on them in Bill Mitchell Bend.
Rubbing's racing, but let's just hope they don't rub it too hard.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Jamie Nichols in ninth chases after Jacobus Besson. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Jamie Nichols needs to find a way to close the gap. Things are heating up as JP Brand closes in on Taihan Van Ruyen. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. Good news for JP Brand. The gap to Taihan Van Ruyen has decreased. It's now down to 0.1 seconds.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
Tactics are clearly going to play an important part in this race.
They are gonna need to look after their tires and will want to keep something in them for the crucial latter stages, as their tires wear and fuel levels deplete when the handling changes.
And don't forget the track grip increases as more rubber gets laid down.
Indeed, the conditions are constantly changing and the drivers need to adapt, otherwise it can cost crucial time and jeopardize their position.
Things don't seem to be going Sean Mater's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. Things are going according to plan for Danny Van Ruyen, who is currently third.
Definitely Peter, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
The tension is building as Blake Hurley trails behind Danny Van Ruyen. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Danny Van Ruyen is pushing to maintain the lead, while Blake Hurley is working to close in and challenge for the position. Richard Reschke is placed 5th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Taihan Van Ruyen, who is 0.6 seconds behind. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. Taihan Van Ruyen needs to find some speed, or maybe get more consistent. They have just put in a slower lap than Richard Reschke.
Hopefully Taihan Van Ruyen can find some of that time they are losing and get it back.
The gap between Jacobus Besson and Jamie Nichols is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Jacobus Besson to bring Jamie Nichols into play. Jamie Nichols is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
This is getting exciting. JP Brand is looking for any gap that might open up the position.
JP Brand is certainly pushing all they can, but the gap might just be too much. Unless Bradley Taylor makes a mistake, it looks like they'll hold on to 9th.
Oh dear, Bradley Taylor has dropped down to 10th. It's a battle of wills out there, with Lyle Ramsey trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Bradley Taylor. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. This is what racing is all about, folks. 3 fearless drivers pushing their machines to the absolute limit, inches apart. A strong showing from Anro Stadler, who is currently first.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Anro Stadler has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Sean Mater is placed 2nd at the moment.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Danny Van Ruyen as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Danny Van Ruyen is going to have to get more serious with practice if they don't want to be outclassed on the circuit.
A solid performance from Blake Hurley, who is holding down 4th.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
It's looking good for Richard Reschke, sitting in 5th.
That's right, they can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Taihan Van Ruyen, who is currently in P6. But Richard Reschke is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Taihan Van Ruyen.
That's right. Taihan Van Ruyen in 6th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Richard Reschke is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
And it's a checkered breaking news, folks. Danny Van Ruyen has pulled into the pits. What a drive from Sean Motter, securing a great second-place finish. Hold on a moment. Richard Reschke has decided to pit. Hold up, breaking info. Richard Reschke is pitting. Wait, Richard Reschke is in the pits. Hold on a moment. Richard Reschke has pulled into the pits.